Hare Krishna, His Grace Raghunath Prabhu ji, welcome to the channel Gaurangacandra Das, and this is the series called as KYC, that is Know Your Community, and we are very honored to have you over here. So Prabhu ji, we are going to ask you 4 questions. The first question is, please tell us about yourself.
Well, my name is Raghunath Das and I am a servant leader of a small congregation in Amritsar. I've been an integral part of ISKCON Chowpatty Sri Radha Gopinath Temple from a long time, and then I shifted to Amritsar, where I now serve a community of about 400 devotees, and I joined ISKCON in 1982 at the Radha Ras Bihari Temple, ISKCON Juhu, and it's been a very happy journey. By profession, I'm a global master trainer for one of the world's largest training outfits, and we train Fortune 500 companies in leadership, in execution and other things. And of late, for the last 4-5 years, I've been actively trying to serve at the GBC College and the Sannyas Ministry, and this is the long and short of my spiritual endeavors.
Very good, sir. So Prabhuji, please tell us how you came to Hare Krishna.
Okay, I was a student of St. Xavier's College, Mumbai. St. Xavier's College is a very fashionable college and a trendsetter. And you know, as they say, there are 4 kinds of people who come to Krishna consciousness. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvidha bhajante. So I wasn't the Sukritina, I was actually the Jigyasu. So as a student in St. Xavier's College, one of Prabhupada's disciples, he would come to the college with small books. The second coming back, you know, that small book on, so he would bring that book to the college. Somebody donated some 400-500 books to him, and so he came to the college to preach. It was a Jesuit college and Catholic college really, and entry was barred, but somehow I think he would climb over the fence and just, you know, come inside without the security knowing, and in his saffron clothes, and he would distribute books there. And I had seen these Hare Krishna devotees, you know, at Juhu Beach as a child, and when I saw him in the college, and I thought I must give him a piece of my mind. I started telling him, are you trying to convert people here? Are you going to teach us? We are Hindus. We are from the Sanatan Dharma. We grew up listening to the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. What are you going to be able to teach us? And so I lectured him for about 5-10 minutes. And he was very patient with me and kept on listening. But after that he said, now you've spoken for 10 minutes. Decency demands that you also listen to me. So I said, yes, tell me what you want to say. And I thought I was trying to pull a fast one on him. But he pulled the rug from below my feet when he started speaking in such a profound way of Srila Prabhupada's teachings. It moved, it stirred my heart. But then, you know, as they say, doubt is like a demon. There was a lurking, you know, fear in my mind that all these Hare Krishnas are hippies and drug addicts. In those days, there was a Hindi movie, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, by a famous, you know, Bollywood actor and producer Devanand, and they used to call it Dam Maro Dam. And so there were rumors in Bombay, very strong rumors, that these people are all drug addicts, and they come here and they collect all the money and then they send it to the US. And you know, in the Gopuram of the temple, they have installed transmitters, and they, you know, transmit all the secret information about India to the FBI and the CIA. I was a fresher in college, just 20 years old. And I just was very, scared about these things. But I didn't want to get involved in anything. But what I heard, I really liked. And so he invited me to come to the Juhu temple, and when I saw the divine Radha Ras Bihari and Gaur Nitai and Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman, I'd never seen anything like that before. And so that darshan itself floored me completely. I mean, I couldn't believe. And Prabhupada had just gone 5 years before that, right? So there weren't many Indian devotees. Most of the devotees there were Americans and others. And they were very kind with me, they were very compassionate. Giriraj Swami was there, and Sridhar Swami was there, and we had the ISKCON was in its infancy at that time also. So what I liked, what I saw, I really liked, and then little by little I started going. But as they say, that lurking fear was there, and there was a devotee in the BBT department, Vaikuntanath, very tall, he was a very tall devotee, German, and he would do all the photo typesetting and layouts of the books. In those days there was no Photoshop, so I would assist him sometimes in his ashram. And one day there was a call. Now there were no intercoms in those days. There was the Radha Ras Bihari temple and the administrative building, and there was the brahmachari ashram there. And so somebody would come to call you and say there's a call for you. So then when he came out, I actually opened his bags to just check what is there, what if there are drugs or guns. And when I saw that he only had a few dhotis, a few gamchas and some tilak and agarbatti and all, I was so pleased, so happy. I said, no, these people are genuine. And so then there was a Rath Yatra, and so I was assisting him because I had done an advanced course in photography from the Xavier's Institute of Communication Arts, and while I was pursuing my graduation. So little by little things happened, and then in March 1983, His Holiness Radhanath Swami, he came back to India after a gap of 11 years. And that was the first day. I mean, he reached Mumbai in the night, and the next morning I go to have his darshan and I go to meet him. And I was struck by his personality, by his humility, by his service attitude, and the way he could relate to people, And so little by little I found myself getting completely pulled towards Krishna consciousness. And because I was young, I got a lot of love from the more senior devotees. We would sit in Giriraj Swami's room for hours together on Sundays, just listening to what he's talking, how he relates to guests. And so little by little the involvement became more, and more devotees joined, and then we had a beautiful, happy God family, and that's how I then became part of Krishna consciousness.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So please can you share us your most ecstatic experience in the spiritual journey?
Before I share my most ecstatic experience, I want to share one regret. And the regret is just a kilometer away from the temple, when the temple was under construction. As a 15-year-old child, I actually would be playing on the sands just outside, at the beachfront where the Radha Ras Bihari temple is. And a friend of mine, he said, some Americans have come here and they're trying to build a temple. Why don't you go there? Let's go there. A number of times he requested me, but I said, I'm not interested. And now with hindsight, I see, had I gone there at that time, perhaps I would have met Prabhupada. I would see devotees chanting and, doing Sankirtan on the Juhu beach. And I would get fascinated. But then I somehow, it was not to be. So I did not go into the temple there. That time Radha Ras Bihari was in that shack, but I didn't go there. And so I probably missed having darshan of Srila Prabhupada. That will remain forever my biggest regret in life. Now to tell you about my most inspiring moment, I would think the fact that, I came early on at the right time in the right place. I don't think we did anything special, but we got tons of association of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. He was a young sannyasi at that time when I first met him. He was just 33 and I was just 21. And Maharaj was so full of energy, and we got so much association with His Holiness Radhanath Swami. In fact, all the yatras, he personally would conduct the yatras, take us. Yatras were very different. They were grueling at that time. I mean, we'd start in the morning at around Mangal Aarti and then finish well past midnight sometimes. And same thing with the Pune Yatra. It would start, and then, the Bhagavatam would go until say 10:30, 11, or rather the Mangal Aarti would go until 9, 10, and then the Bhagavatam would start, and that would go until, 2:33. And so, it was how the days would pass, and, we were like, as if we can walk on water. It was such a blissful thing. Nothing seemed impossible in those days. And because we got so much intimate association of him, I think we are all the early birds, who came to Krishna consciousness. We were recipients of disproportionate love from Radhanath Maharaj. And so that remains an indelible impression in my heart. And I don't think I can ever, these are things which are etched in our hearts, and I don't think I can ever forget, the kind of love we got from him. I mean, they say Guru is a father, but I think Radhanath Maharaj is more of a mother than a father. He carries that softest of soft hearts, and he relates with you in such a way that you feel you are the only person in the world who matters. And so then, of course, I don't know when, we all started progressing together, and I got a chance to be among the servant leaders of Radha Gopinath Temple, and it's been one happy journey, I can just say that.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing, Prabhu. So, with your 4 decades of spiritual experience, what is your advice for us?
I don't know what advice I can give. I'd say if I could roll back time, I would have been a lot more serious about my commitments. I could have done so much more. And so I feel, because you realize, as you grow older, you realize that time and energy are unrenewable resources. And so I feel, if you are young and you have realized that this is the best way of living life, then one should deeply get involved in Krishna consciousness. And one more thing, remember, Krishna consciousness is an endeavor of a lifetime. Okay? So, everyone comes to ISKCON for different reasons. Some people like Kirtan, some people like dancing, some people like to hear Katha. But I do feel that unless you ground yourself in the scriptural understanding by reading Srila Prabhupada's books, even though you may be interested in Kirtan, but you must cement your faith with sound Gaudiya Darshan. And please understand one thing I have realized, that nobody ever leaves ISKCON for want of philosophy. Nobody ever leaves ISKCON because they didn't get their answers. People may leave ISKCON for different reasons, when they can't keep up their vows, or for some reason they get offended. But I can tell you that there is no other more convincing philosophy than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Gaudiya philosophy. And so I would say, become serious about Krishna consciousness. Now as I age, I realize that the energy levels are not as good as they used to be. And so make the best of it, and be very apprehensive or scared about committing Vaishnava aparadhas. Because we must all remember, at the end of the day, all we have is each other. So, be very concerned about not committing Vaishnava aparadhas, and to be humble. To be humble. Because as you grow in your Krishna consciousness, or at least in your tenure, you tend to look at yourself as a senior. And that's the entrapment of Maya. Okay? So keep your feet on the ground, do your sadhana well. There is no alternative to that. And remain in the association of wonderful devotees. Surround yourself with devotees who are more mature than yourself, and try to get inspired by them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining us. Srila Prabhupada ki
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
jai.